Welcome to another episode of Charge the Line. I'm your host, Roger Narvaez, and this is my good friend, Tony Perez. Doing something a little different today, bringing for us, it kind of goes with the topic that we're going to talk about, but it's something that we've been saying we were going to do. We want to start putting a podcast out pretty much every week. And in order to do that with our schedules, they don't exactly line up. He's on 40-hour work week. I'm on shift work, but we decided that, to bring everybody the consistency of the episodes, we're just gonna get it done. Whether it's waking up early, whether it's staying up late, we're gonna do what we got to do to film. So that's what we're doing today. If you feel like we're slipping, then let us know. But like I said, it kind of goes within our topic today because this isn't exactly in our comfort zone. Usually we're used to waking up, working out, like we had mentioned before, that kind of puts you on autopilot. You can kind of just go through the motions when you get to the gym. But this, you actually got to think and be on your toes. So let us know how we do. But there's enough people out there that are giving us good feedback. People in the fire service, people retired from the fire service, people that are aspiring to get into the fire service, and then just people looking for general, how do you say, like leadership guidance, or people are just out there like, what we talk about, jiu-jitsu, personal growth, leadership, so there's enough people that we've affected out there and that have reached out to us for us to keep this going. So, we appreciate y'all's love and support, and, let us know how we do for this first early morning recording. But before we get started, Tony just got back from the College World Series, the Junior College World Series, which I don't think people realize. Yeah. Junior college is still super competitive.
It's very competitive.
I've heard even in the football aspect, because that's what I played, and my brother played junior college football and then went to play D2. But even then, they say that sometimes it's more competitive than some D2s out there because it's essentially guys that just quite didn't make the cut, right?
Well, I wouldn't even say that. I think historically it was always like if you didn't have the grades. In baseball, it was if you didn't have the grades, or if you wanted to get drafted, because if you went to a D1 school, you were going to be committed to stay there for a few years.
Okay.
So if you were like, I'm going to get drafted, you're that good, like,
right?
Which is crazy because you go to a JUCO and then you got like young men that are literally going to go play in the MLB,
right?
You'll see that in D1 also. But what's happened in the last couple of years, or last several years since COVID, that they implemented the portal. So you have kids that you have these young men that were going to D1 schools and then maybe not playing the playtime that they wanted.
Right.
So then, these are D1 athletes that were like right there, are at that level, and they're like, well, I'll go play JUCO and then I'll play I'll be the guy, So you get a lot of that. And so they call them kickbacks. So like they're at a D1, like we had them on our team, or, basically they were at a D1 school and then they came to come play. They may have got redshirted their freshman year, and then so now they still have eligibility, and then they come to JUCO, so they're a year older and they're just like ready to go, and they're like D1 athletes, right? And every team, like if you listen to these games were streamed on ESPN2, so they have all the history of all the the background profile of all the different athletes, and so it's like they're going to these big schools next year, all of them. So it's very, very competitive, and then playing up there is like every game is like a championship game, and even to get there is like you have to win your region or your conference, your regional, your super regional, and then and I'm talking like win it. It's not like take the top two teams. It's like you have to be number one
team.
Number one. So every team there has like been a long journey to get there. They get there, they all want to win, obviously, and so we lost our first game, put us in the loser bracket, and these kids.
That's what's so impressive.
Yeah,
you lost your first game and had to literally, it was a dogfight.
Had to run through the losers bracket and just win 3 games in a row to get back up, and then we wound up playing the number 1 seed in a game that we were winning and lost at the end, which is baseball. Sometimes it's kind of like you can play a better game and still lose the game, unfortunately. And that's what happened. But they had a great season, really a great team. Similar to what I was talking about, a lot of those starters that we have are going off to bigger and better bigger and better, going to D1 schools. We have one of them is going to a MLB camp this summer. I mean, wow. So it's like that's how good they are. But the experience, I think, was pretty much once in a lifetime, and I knew that I wanted to be there. So it was Grand Junction, Colorado, which was a beautiful town. Went up there at the start of the tournament, stayed there for an entire week. You don't know when you're going to be eliminated, so you go and you just say, well, just cross my fingers and hope we stay till the end. And we almost made it. We made it to Friday, or Thursday night, but I left Friday. But it's a week-long tournament, so really great experience. They had a great keynote speaker at their banquet. They had a Navy SEAL, Gus. They call him Gus Gustafsson. It was all these young men were like so impressed with his talk and leadership and about being an athlete, and compared it to being a Navy SEAL. It was really cool. And then of course when he threw the first pitch, I've never seen this before, especially with all the military guys throwing the first pitch. He did something unique. He took the baseball and acted like it was a grenade and pulled the pin and tossed it over. So I thought that was pretty cool too. All the kids got a kick out of that. Got it all pumped up. Yeah, and he was at the games. Yeah. So like this town, real quick before we jump into this, it's like Grand Junction, Colorado, small town, like beautiful mountains all around. And everywhere you go, everyone's talking about the JUCO World Series. Like they've hosted it for like, I don't know how many years, like over 30 years, like years and years and years. And the Suplizo Field is this historic field in like the middle of town, right by Colorado Mesa University. And like people have been sitting, like I went to get a haircut and the guys are talking about the games. I went to Discount Tire. And they're like, yeah, I'll be there tonight. Like, these people have been going to these games
forever.
Like, they don't have anybody playing. They're just going to the games.
Just fans.
To just go check it out, stay in the same sitting in the same seats for 25 years. The guy at Discount Tire, I've been sitting behind the plate for 25 years. Me and my family, we have a whole row. We buy the tickets every year. We sit there, and they just watch these guys play. Yeah. And it was cool because one of the teams from Blinn, that was a hometown. You'll hear it. They'll be like hometown, like, or somewhere near. Whereas like kids that grew up going to those games and now they're playing there. Like that's just amazing. So I always told Isaac, my son, like, hey, let's go. One of these days we should go to a College World Series. Like I'm talking about the NCAA, go to the World Series, Omaha. That'd be cool. Right. But never, ever, ever would I have dreamed like, oh yeah, we're gonna go and he's gonna play in the junior College World Series. So really great experience. And we just got back and that was fun. I was there a week.
Yeah, man. Well, I give you props. You inspire me a lot, man, because I know you make things happen. You understand living in the present, and you make it happen. Always at his games. I mean, 9-hour drives. This one was what?
18 hours.
18-hour drive. Yeah. That's crazy, man.
A lot of people flew. I wanted to drive because I didn't know when it was going to be over, and I needed to come back, to get back to work or whatever. So it worked out. But yeah, I mean, some people drove. You could split it up, or we kind of. Just made it happen. Had to be there. I wanted to be there. Yeah. I knew he was going to experience that. I wanted to be there. My wife was there also.
I would have probably died driving.
Yeah, it's a long drive.
Anything over 4 hours, I'm done, dude.
Oh, yeah.
I think the most impressive thing I ever did was when I was sick. I started to get sick, and we had to go see the Cowboys, and I drove like 6.5 hours straight, no stops.
Yeah.
No nothing. And I was like that, and that was just because I guess I felt like I was gonna die, so I was like, I just
gotta go.
Drive.
Yeah, life or death.
Yeah.
Someone told me, he's like, oh, driving like that builds resilience. I was like, man, I was like, I drive because every other week I was driving to Midland, which I wound up learning that drive. But
that's crazy though.
It wasn't too bad, man.
Well, that's good, man. Glad you made it home safe. Congratulations to Isaac and his team for making it that far. Those are definitely memories that I'm sure he'll carry with him for the rest of his life, man. So that was definitely awesome for you to be able to experience that. But jumping into what we're going to talk about today, I think we live in a culture where people, we talk about sacrifice, we talk about resistance or pressure or suffering, and we live in a society today where people necessarily don't, or how do you say, they don't want it, right? They don't want to have to go through those things.
I would say they want it, but don't want to put in.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. They don't want to go through those. They don't want to go through the journey of the hardship and the struggle. They want instant gratification, right? And that's what we've been, almost like we've been bred for now.
Yeah,
it's like before we didn't have the luxuries and the conveniences that we have. It's almost like one could even argue society's been bred through convenience, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like bred for convenience, with something as simple as like, hey, you just click on your phone and you get something delivered to your house and you don't have to wait. I mean, I've had it to where my daughter is like, she's like, is it at the mailbox yet? And she's like looking.
Oh yeah, track your package. Yeah.
Yes, and because it is that easy now,
the conveniences of life have like kind of softened up. Like,
yes, and that's the thing.
And the technology and convenience is like a beautiful thing. Like that's great, like,
it is
in a lot of ways, but like it could also has
it can hinder
some
right?
byproducts that.
Well, and that's the thing, because now it's almost like people avoid hardship.
Yeah.
Right. People don't want to go through.
And it's easy to avoid because of the conveniences of life.
Yep. And I think the thing that people are not willing to understand is that sometimes discomfort, it actually used to be part of growth.
Yeah.
Right. Like going through something difficult, going through the hard times. And we've talked about it with our kids. We want our kids to have better. So, at what point is us, at what point are we actually hindering them?
Yeah.
But that's when we find other things. And that's where sports, we talk about it all the time. Sports is a great avenue to teach a child that has luxuries that we didn't used to have, how to still deal with those hardship, how to work hard, how to deal with other people in a group dynamic, and kind of simulate that I don't want to say hardship, but the difficulty of going through some of those
pressure
things, And one thing that I think that stands out clear in my mind is when you think about the ease of things. I always say that nothing worthwhile is easy, right? And there's another saying that goes, nothing meaningful is built in comfort, right? Yeah. Because when you think about everything that you get that actually means something, it was the journey. It wasn't necessarily the reward, right? It was the journey that made it mean so much. I take anything I've accomplished in life that has been meaningful, whether it was making captain in the fire service or getting my black belt. It's not the actual belt, or the badge, because once you get those, it's like, okay, I've got them.
Yeah.
Now what?
Now what?
But what made it worthwhile is looking back and saying, man, I realized how much I dedicated myself to this craft or this profession, and how much work I put in when nobody else was willing to. The things that I did, the things I sacrificed in those moments. Not only did it let me know what I was capable of doing when I really put my mind to something, but it was very gratifying afterwards knowing that all that hard work led to this, right? And that's something I think we kind of rob ourselves of today if we aren't willing to embrace some of the difficulties. And we're going to talk about two different things, because obviously we do both, right? Yeah. We're the rare breed of firemen out there that also is willing to partake in jiu-jitsu, and they're out there, and I applaud everybody that does it. But I think those people that really put themselves in the situation we have understand that, man, the fire service and jiu-jitsu are really like one and the same.
I think let me speak on that real quick, because I think it's more so jiu-jitsu that it's like pretty much the people that get into it, it's like you wind up relating it to like all of life, like everything. Yeah. I mean, you could pull any occupation, you could pull any like part of life that you're struggling with or whatever, and you're like, oh, jiu-jitsu. Oh, like once you, what is it? The saying is like, when you're looking for the way, you see it like in all things or whatever. Right, like when you find the way, you see it in all things. That's where like jiu-jitsu just like, like really is
opens things up.
Oh yeah. I heard it the other day. It's like martial arts in general is a vehicle to release your unlimited potential or whatever. Martial arts, BBJ, like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, is the vehicle that will help you to release your potential.
Yeah,
and it's like,
for sure.
And you even had put something similar to that on a shirt, like help like releasing your potential or realizing your potential,
relentlessly pursue your potential. That's one of my sayings, right?
Because that potential is so important, right? Because it's like, what is it? It's like, it's not what's guaranteed to you. It's not what you can. It is what you can be, but it's not guaranteed that you'll be there.
We're actually gonna get into that, because I know you brought that up. a while back, but like, what is your potential? That's actually coming up. What does potential mean?
What does that mean? Yeah, that's exactly what.
So that's going to be a good one that you guys got to look for in the future, because I think people say that all the time. Right?
Yeah.
Like, what is potential? Right.
Well, you think about that too, raising children, right? Like, man, I want them to reach their highest potential.
What is that?
Yeah, what does that mean, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, because I mean, like, what is, again, it's another episode, but what is the potential? Like, they could do anything that they want to do. You know, you can do anything that you want to do, but it's not going to come easy.
No. And that's where I think we start to see some declines in the fire service, and we'll get into it even in jiu-jitsu. Because I think with society almost demonizing discomfort, I feel like society is almost treating that like it's oppression now. Like, if you're in an uncomfortable situation, if you have to go through some hardship, then that's you're being oppressed, right? And that's not at all what it is, and that's not you miss the entire meaning of it. And I think for us, what we see is, the physical standards are something that I tell the cadets every time I meet with them. I'm like, man, you guys are like the Navy SEALs. We're supposed to be like the Navy SEALs of first responders, right? like we're supposed to be, when you look at a firefighter and a police officer and an EMT, which in our department, you are a paramedic and a firefighter. But when you go across the board, nurses, whoever you want to throw into the first responder role, you typically think of a firefighter as being the badass that's jacked with an axe over. I always tell the guys, it might seem a little misogynist, but whatever. Don't get me canceled now, but you think of a firefighter and you think of a guy climbing down from a ladder with an axe over one shoulder, a hot chick over the other, and underneath that gear, he's just jacked and ripped his shit, right? Well, man,
you say holding a baby.
Well, no, but a hot chick, right? That's like what I see. I'm like, dude, that's what I want people. When I want people to look at me, that's what I want them to see. You know what I mean? Like, just a hero, right? Nobody looks at Superman. I mean, Superman was handsome. He was jacked. I mean, unfortunately, some of our guys can't get all the
had nice hair.
It doesn't happen for everybody, right? But I think the reason we're starting to see some of that decline is because it's the comfort that we're looking for, right? The days where we're afraid to embrace the difficulties, the days where I tell the guys at my station, I say, man, when I work out, there's days now, not during work. During work, I usually will hit a workout and it'll be within reason, right? Yeah. If it's 90 degrees outside, I'm not going to put my guys in the gear. And some people might see it opposite on this, but I'm not going to put my guys in the gear and have them do a bust-ass workout where they're done for the day afterwards, right?
Might need them later.
Yeah, might need them later to actually get the job done. Yeah. But I think there's, for me, it's like I want to take myself to those dark places. Oh, yeah. I want to be able to build that mental resilience and that intestinal fortitude to be able to push through the difficult time, to be able, when my body says no, to have my mind overtake it and just say no, keep fucking going.
To know what that feels like, to where you can know that you can still push. It's not.
Yes,
it's not
because the reality is, like, we're not going to be able to put ourselves in an exact situation where we feel like, oh, it's hot in here and
feel like I can't breathe.
I can't breathe. I can't. No, when that's going to happen, it's going to be when it actually happens. Too late. Yeah. And if you don't. The only way I know that I can replicate that stress factor is by getting on that damn Echo bike, or putting on a vest and going for a run, or doing Murph, right, unbroken, and almost dying doing it, and being able to push through in those moments where your mind is saying stop, your body's saying quit, I'm done, and you just have to overcome and say no. You listen, I'm in control. Like the mind is stronger than the body, and you have to be able to push through. But we live in a culture, I feel, And you hear this, any podcast that I listen to, any book that I read, anybody in the fire service, these are all things that are happening nationwide. So it's a societal change. It's not a geographical thing. It's not like it's just our department. It's everywhere. And I think it's because of the fact that, we are embracing comfort over competence. Yeah. Right? We don't want to go out and throw our gear on and do rep after rep because it might be a little too hot outside, or, we don't want to push our body to the max because we don't have to. Yeah. Right? There's nobody standing guard over us. And that's one thing when we just had the 47th cadet class graduate. And that's one thing that I tell them is nobody is going to be babysitting you. For the last year and a half, you have had somebody on your ass. Yeah. Every day you had to work out Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. You had to put on your bunker gear and do training when they told you. Now it's on you. Yeah. You'll be very lucky if you come across a captain that is as motivated as some of the training officers you've had. But if you don't, now it's on you.
Yeah, to that physical aspect, they even had to do some type of PFT. And then now at this point, a lot of people freak out when they hear there's nothing you have to do annually, or there's nothing that, to keep you in shape. It's no, it's totally up to you.
Yeah.
It's an individual
and I think unfortunately it's because there's that check the box mentality with a lot of what we do, right? We show up to work, we check out our box, we check out our engine, we do our daily task. And that's the funny thing to me. It's I know some people think there's some chiefs out there that are micromanaging because they'll call in the morning, hey, what's your plans or whatever. And some are a little bit more, some are micromanagers, right? Let's be real. And some are just okay, what you got going on today? And you tell them, oh, we got yard day. And it's okay, what else? What are they training? Oh, we're doing
not the normal 8 to 5 work stuff. What are you doing to get better at your job?
And that's what we don't do enough of. We do all the check the box shit, and that's great. You're supposed to do that. Restrooms need to get clean.
And the system problem with that is if you did all of that, if you did your one pre-plan a year, if you did all your inventories, if you did the yard when you were supposed to, in the eyes of most people, is man, that's a good captain. Yes. And it's that's what we grade him on, as opposed to what happened when he was the first on scene of a 2-story multifamily, structure fire. Did he set it up the way that it was supposed to? Did he, do what he was supposed to? Go into that search that he needed to do, or whatever the
why do you think, let me ask you, because you're a chief and you're a battalion chief. And I didn't have the luxury of being a captain under you. I served as just a regular firefighter, so I didn't see a lot of the closed door talks that you probably did have with some of these captains. But why do you feel chiefs, or what's holding chiefs back, should I say, from holding people accountable? That's not comfortable. You coming to me as my boss and telling me, hey, you fucked up on this, you didn't do this right, we need to get better. I mean, I know there's some of those talks do happen, and there are chiefs that do hold people accountable. But I feel more than not, it's, especially when we have these critiques and these I don't want to say hot wash, because we don't really, when we do the hot wash, it's more of a quick thing. Yeah. But when we have an actual after action and somebody screws up, why do you think we're afraid as a culture to point out why somebody or what somebody did wrong? What
it has more to do with what I'll call the report card. And you get your report card, you look at good grades and bad grades. For a long time, what's happened is that the good grade on a report card, the parameters to what make a good grade on the report card is nobody got hurt, the fire went out. Right. If those are what you're grading your performance on, nobody got hurt, the fire went out. I mean, as far as I can tell, every fire goes out eventually. I mean, there's not in our town, there's not
burning a couple buildings down
yeah, I mean, there's not. So that can't be the passing score, the fire went out, because eventually it'll go out. It's gonna go out, and nobody got hurt. That's what we're saying is that's the passing grade. And so you have to rethink the way that we evaluate our skills and we evaluate our performance, and that it can't be that cannot be the catalyst to hey, job well done. And that's what it was. Oh, good job, nobody got hurt. How many times have you heard that? How many, even in and after action, hey, good job, guys, nobody got hurt. That was pretty bad. Someone could have got hurt. No one got hurt. Great job. We probably shouldn't have put ourselves in whatever position that made it a close call to, to begin with, because of our, of our training and being good at what we do, and being able to do that. You have to transition the way that you think about things. The perspective that you look at things is like, how you have to look at it as to how can we always, like, what do we need to do to be better? How could that have worked more smooth? How could that have worked better in the essence of, like, getting the searches done, putting the fire out faster?
Isn't that like the basics of leadership, right? Isn't that self-reflection? Like, not only having somebody like as leaders, right? As officers in the fire department. That's something that we should all be doing. Is like, could I have done better?
But that takes, man, that's like, it takes that self-reflection, looking in the mirror. A lot of people don't like to do that. And here's the other thing too that we suffer in the fire service is that we always just who taught you how to be a captain? Well, you worked for like 4 or 5 different captains in your career thus far, and you said, well, this guy does this really good. He does this not so good. I'm going to take a little bit from him. We're only doing what the guy before us did.
Yeah.
Like, so
it's almost like you don't know what you don't know.
Well,
right?
And that's why there's so much tradition, and like the culture just goes on forever, is because like you're just doing like what the guy before you did. And like I thought he did a good job, so this is how I'm going to do it. And right, wrong, or indifferent, so like it takes some different perspective to say like, oh, we're going to stop doing that. We're going to, like, there's things that, you look at it overall. It's like, what are we doing that we need to keep doing? What are we doing that, like, that's kind of dumb. Like, there's no reason for that. We need to stop doing that. And then what are we doing that we're not doing that we should be doing, right? And then you look at it that way, and then you can, like, kind of have a better way to evaluate your performance and your performance of your crews, in that, like, how can we be better,
But the funny thing is, when you say that, we're talking about the fire service, but when you just said what you said, you're just talking about being successful. You're talking about being successful. I mean, my daughter, after every practice, comes home and evaluates herself. Yes. And all I say is, how'd you do today, baby? Oh, well, I didn't do this. And she doesn't even realize it.
Right.
But I ask that question because she'll tell me, I'll say, how was practice? Oh, it was fun. Okay.
And then break it down.
What happened? Tell me, how did it go? And when I say that, then it really opens up the door, right? And then she starts telling me.
So is everybody doing that? Like, like some of this athletes, are they just going home like, we won or lost? Like, we had a bad game because we lost. We had a great game because we won.
Right.
Because, I mean, you can have performance-wise, I mean, you can have a great performance and lose the game, right? So that can't be, that can't be the evaluator of, that can't be like how you evaluate yourself. So, like, I guess my point is everybody's different. Like, she's taking it to the next level. What do I need to do to be better?
But that's where it's up to the leadership on those guys that are struggling to either help them, or to hold them accountable.
Oh, I agree.
But one of the two, right? We can't continue. And I think in the fire service, we're so afraid. We go back to comfort. Yeah. We're so afraid of being putting ourselves in an uncomfortable situation. Where now there's some guys that they just naturally are great leaders, number one, or number two, they're just assholes, right? And so they don't mind confrontation. They don't mind. In fact, they probably don't know how to go about it the right way, but they don't mind that questioning or getting in somebody's stuff about something that happened. But then there's, as for us, like, once you step into that role, that's why I got a crew right now. I tell my guys that are wanting to test, I'm like, you have to understand that when you get that badge, like, you're now the man.
Yeah.
Like, so now is the time to learn how to be the man.
Yeah.
I said, I started running, and something that I'm going to do with my guys is like, oh, you want to test for captain? Okay. You're running us through a training scenario.
Yeah.
Right.
You're going to have to
it's
run
gonna
the
be
training.
all you. I want to see your lesson plan.
Objectives.
I want you objectives. Yeah. I want to, you put us through it. I'm going to step back. I'm going to be part of it. And I'm going to go, and then afterwards, I'll give you some feedback.
Yeah.
Whether, hey, that was great, or hey, you need to work on this. But I think far too many times we have too many people that literally, act like they're magically just going to understand how to become a captain or a driver or whatever, a chief.
Yeah.
And that's not the case,
Well, that's another saying that we've always said, is that, like, mediocre firefighters become mediocre officers.
Yeah.
Like,
excellent
firefighters become excellent officers.
And so I think, we're going to jump into the jiu-jitsu stuff, but I think, in the fire service, we got to remember, the fire doesn't care about feelings. It doesn't care about excuses. It doesn't care about comfort. It's going to burn hot. It's going to burn fast. And it's going to take over if we allow it to.
Yeah.
And the only way we can combat that is to embrace the difficult, embrace the discomfort, and push through. And, you know, the reason that I wanted to talk about jiu-jitsu is because I feel like the culture has shifted. And of course, you only know what you know, right?
Sure.
You don't know jiu-jitsu 20 years ago.
No. Yeah.
You don't know how it was. But 20 years ago, it was much more difficult than what it is now.
Sure.
And what I mean by that is it's almost like a hobbyist culture is overtaking the fighting culture.
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu was meant to, it was a martial art that was proven to be the best self-defense out there. And the way they proved it was a bunch of Brazilians went into gyms and literally challenged whoever the biggest, baddest, strongest dude was with their, you know, mediocre selves, their 160, 180 pound physique. And they would literally beat the shit out of these guys in front of their own students, right? To say that my art is better. We were founded on by a group of savages, essentially, is what I like to say, right? Tough guys that were going to fight you and show that their art was better. Through the spread or the growth of the sport, I feel like, and I started to see it slowly happening, but now, especially in our area, we have so many jiu-jitsu gyms. I think it's almost like a what do you call it? Epidemic, where you're starting to see people that are hobbyists that are doing jiu-jitsu, and it's not their fault, right? Because when I walk into a gym and I don't know anything, and I go to you to teach me, you're going to teach me something. You're going to teach me how to do jiu-jitsu, and you show me a couple moves, and I'm like, oh, okay, but I don't know your credibility. I don't know about how good you actually are. I don't know, have you ever tried this in a fight? Have you actually done this technique, or are you just showing me? Because I can sit here and show somebody how to choke somebody when the opponent's just sitting there.
Yeah, they're not fighting back.
Right?
Yeah.
When you're not fighting back.
Yeah, it's different.
And I think that's the thing that separates our gym and the way I teach. And I know I've done it with you. Especially with men that, you know, they come to the gym, they have families, and it's like, when you first are overcome in a situation and somebody, say, has full mount on you, and you can't breathe, and you don't know how to control your breathing, right?
Yeah.
Because you got this guy on top of you, he's just smothering you, you're just trying to find space. You don't know how to explode at the right moments. Instead, you're just panicking.
Can't catch your breath.
So what happens? You tap.
Yeah.
And it's like, no. And that's something that I do. I'm like, nah, like, hold on.
Yeah.
Let's work through it. Take a deep breath. And then I talk you through it, right?
Yeah.
But how many other people out there are just like, okay, and they get off and that's it.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are you really teaching? You're avoiding the pressure. You're avoiding the hard rounds. You're breeding this mindset of ease in a sport that is meant to save your life if need be.
Yeah, and those moments are so important because, like, a lot of times, like, it's something so simple. Like I can think of a specific time where that happened, where it's like I'm on my back, I'm exploding, like you said, at the wrong times, and you're like, find a place to, like, get to your side. Mm-hmm. Find a place where just take a few seconds to catch your breath. And how do you get out of this? Shrimp out, you know, like whatever it is, get some pressure on my hips, like whatever I need to do. Like, it's like, oh man, it's like, get to my side, shrimp a little bit, get a better position. Like 2 moves later, I'm out of it. Like, I mean, it's like, that's all it took.
Exactly.
But in that moment, it's like, no,
get me
I'm
out
done.
of here.
Yeah.
You want out. And that's the thing. It's like,
and until you've been put in that position, you have no idea like what, and if you're never to where you know that, like, I could get out of this, like, you just are always going to think like, oh, once someone mounts me, like, it's pretty much I'm done. It's like, nah, not necessarily, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's why, like, I always felt like I had to compete. I always felt I didn't want to be that guy that was obtaining ranks. I obtained my rank pretty quick. I got my blue belt in 11 months. I got my purple belt, I think, in right around 2 years. I was actually brown belt longer than I was a purple belt. And so I got my black belt in just over 5 years, right? And every rank that I obtained once I started getting ranked, I got my blue belt. I did a competition within the month. And I was nervous because I was like, you get this
you're
blue
new.
belt,
You're new at a new belt, and you're going up against guys in the belt. Yeah.
But, I always challenge myself. And so my first competition, my second competition, it was in Houston. My first one was like in the Valley, so it was a lot smaller. Second one was in Houston. It was in the, I did no gi. So your belt is always your belt, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going against other blue belts in the gi. But then when I did no gi, and I always did both, I always competed in both. I was in what they call the advanced division. And so I had guys that were 4 years or longer. I'd been in a year.
Yeah.
And these guys are purple belt and up.
Above, yeah.
Right? So it's like these dudes were, and they were good.
Yeah.
And I got my ass kicked a couple times.
Sure.
I remember fighting Bruno Bastos, who's a multiple-time world champion, and my third or fourth tournament, because I always entered the absolutes. Yeah. So, I'm going against guys that are any weight size, any weight class. And I wasn't afraid to take on the challenge. I mean, I was nervous, but it was like, what happens? Like, you tap. You lose. Like, I mean, it's not a big deal, right? Because I wanted to... The mats don't lie. Yeah. The mats don't lie. I wanted to test myself. And when I see these guys that are promoting... I think it's funny because when I say the hobbyist culture is overtaking the fighting culture, I mean, like, it's almost like we have this kumbaya, everybody sit in a circle and hold hands, and jiu-jitsu's for everybody. No, jiu-jitsu's not for everybody. Let me just stop you right there. Jiu-jitsu's for the people that want to get better, that want to push themselves, and real jiu-jitsu is going to make you uncomfortable. Real jiu-jitsu is going to make you question things. It's going to push you to your limits. When you start promoting this jiu-jitsu's for everybody, no. You can come in, and this is where I say our gym's not for everybody, because you're going to find out really quick. Now, we're not going to beat the shit out of you. Like, in our gym, we don't even tap somebody for the first month, probably. We don't even work on submissions. And it's like, hey, this guy's new, but by month 2, month 3, if you're taking rounds off, guess what? Yeah. Hey, I'm going to get in your ass. Yeah. Right? I'm going to remind you, like, hey, let's go. And people don't want that. I need my break. I don't want him yelling at me. Okay, fine. Go to another gym where they'll let you roll one round that's 5 minutes, and then you can take 3 rounds off and sit in the corner and hold hands with your instructor, because they really don't give a shit about whether you really know how to defend yourself or not. I do. Yeah. I never want somebody... there's a saying, that belt only covers 2 inches of your ass when you step out that door. Yeah. And I never want one of my guys to have rank, step outside our building, get accosted by somebody or attacked by somebody that doesn't know jiu-jitsu, and get their ass kicked. Yeah. That would be that's a failure on my part. Right. But, what does make me proud about our team and our gym is that we can go to other places, and our guys roll levels up, and they show their worth. Yeah. And a lot of times I'll have our students come back, white belts, blue belts. Man, I was rolling this brown belt. I was rolling this purple belt. And I submitted them. And I'm like, good. Yeah. Good. What we're doing works. Yeah. Right. But I think it's all about, trying to navigate those difficulties of having to embrace the discomfort. Oh yeah. And so, whoever's out there that's listening to this, it's going to take self-reflection. It's going to take moments where you're going to do things that you don't want to do. It's going to take you setting goals that maybe are a little lofty in your eyes at the moment, but when it comes down to it, if you're willing to embrace the discomfort, if you're willing to embrace the work, if you're willing to put in the work, then all in all, like, the results will speak for themselves. Yeah, it's worth it. It's worth it. So, I just wanted to talk about that a little bit today, because I think, like I said, both in the fire service and in jiu-jitsu, we're kind of at a place where society has changed us. It's made us weaker. It's made us, we talk about that saying all the time, where it's like, hard men make what is
the times? It's like the hard times.
Hard times make strong men. Strong men make easy times. Easy times make weak men.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think we have to always keep at the forefront what our purpose is and what the challenges are, and we have to be willing to push ourselves so that when those times come, right, we can perform as expected. Yeah. And the only way that's gonna happen is by doing things that are uncomfortable.
That brings up that real quick, that what in the fire service, whatever, that we always think that we're going to just rise to the occasion. Like, well, when the fire comes, I'll be ready. Oh, when a fight comes, like, I'll be ready. I'll see red. I'll just
I hear that all the time.
Not dude. True. It's just
I hear all the time. You know how many tough guys, street fight, undefeated street fighters have come into the gym.
Yeah.
And you put them on their backs, and after about a minute and a half to 2 minutes of just trying to scramble every which way out of a position,
where you at,
they're exhausted.
Yeah.
So to anybody that's a leader out there, I just hope that when you guys are out there, you're building standards and accountability for your teams, for your crews, right? Whether you're a gym owner that has a jiu-jitsu gym, understand you have an obligation to the people that are paying you to learn self-defense. If you're a captain or a chief in the fire service, understand you have an obligation to the men that you are leading into battle and that you are taking into these dangerous situations. And that obligation is, if you see somebody is not meeting a standard, then you have to address it. And it's uncomfortable, but it's needed. We want to develop real capability, right? We don't want to just sit here and I do jiu-jitsu. Oh, I'm a fireman. Okay. Are you? Let's see what happens when you put on your gear. Let's see what happens when somebody puts you in this situation or has you in this chokehold. How there's a difference between training and between just going to class.
Yeah.
Right? There's always a difference. So just remember, everybody out there that's listening, pressure reveals truth. And unless you're constantly putting yourself under pressure, you're never going to be ready for that moment when it comes. So, T, you got anything left, man?
I think that was pretty good. I think hit what we were trying to hit today, but it's just that self-reflection, just to always kind of think about, continue to push to like make yourself better in whatever facet of life that you're talking about. I mean, this could relate to anything, like being a parent, being whatever your occupation might be, but just always even something that you talked about Cynthia's already doing, right? Like, that's why sports is so good, man. It's so good to kind of put your children in those positions early in their life when they recognize leadership and teamwork and all those things that come out of that. But it's like, how can I be better?
Yeah, I think that's good. I'm gonna challenge the audience with this question: where has comfort made you weaker? If you're listening to this and you've stayed throughout the whole episode, I challenge you. Examine somewhere in your life where comfort has made you weaker. And the challenge is to identify it and fix it. Or do something to combat it. Yeah. Right? Because there's some things where, man, it might make us weaker, but it's just, technology, right? Yeah. Okay, well, don't use it as much.
Right.
Do something difficult. And we used to say it, I forgot who, I think it was David Goggins. He says, do something that sucks every day. Every day, find something that you don't want to do, that you just absolutely hate, and do it. And the mental toughness and the intestinal fortitude that you will build is something that nobody can replicate. So thank you guys for listening. Till next time, much love. And we will catch you on the flip side. God bless.